Myra woke before sunrise, the empty house around her feeling too big. She crossed the living room and paused by the window where she and her sister Layla used to press their faces against the glass, pointing out birds and dreaming of adventures. Now, Layla lived across the ocean in a new city, chasing her own dreams, and every morning Myra felt the weight of that distance settle in her chest. She wrapped her arms around herself and remembered the last time they spoke face to face. It was a rainy afternoon, and they sat on the old couch sipping cocoa. Layla had hesitated, her lips pressed tight, before announcing she had packed her bags. Myra had forced a smile, congratulating her sister, but inside she felt a hollow ache. Layla's eyes shone with excitement, while Myra's heart trembled with fear that their closeness would vanish. That day Layla left. Myra drove her to the airport, words caught in her throat. She wanted to say, "I'll miss you more than I can say," but only managed a soft, "Be safe." When Layla hugged her goodbye, Myra squeezed tight, as though holding on would stop. Time, the moment ended, and the plane soared away. Since then, Myra's days felt muted. She began each morning hoping a message would light up her phone. But texts came only once in a while, cheerful snapshots of Layla exploring city streets, trying new food, making new friends. Myra smiled when she saw Layla's laughter, but the smile always faded into an ache that pulsed behind her ribs. Myra tried to fill her time. She painted pictures of blue skies and golden field scenes she and Layla once imagined exploring together. She joined a local book club to meet new friends, volunteered at the community garden to plant bright flowers that reminded her of home. Yet, in quiet moments, when she lay awake at night, her thoughts drifted back to her sister. How was Layla sleeping under unfamiliar stars? Did she miss the sound of their laughter? Did she feel as lonely sometimes as Myra felt now? One afternoon, Myra found herself standing at the edge of the garden, a trowel in her hand and a mound of soil waiting to cradle new seedlings. The team leader, Miss Rodriguez, noticed her hesitation. "You look far away," Miss Rodriguez said kindly. Myra shook her head. "Just thinking about someone I care about." She took a deep breath. "My sister moved away. I feel like we're drifting apart. I want to reach her, but I don't know how." Miss Rodriguez smiled with warmth. "Sometimes the first step is simple. Write a letter, send a gift, call her at a time she'd least expect. Small actions can bring people closer, no matter how wide the distance." Myra looked at the neat rows of planted seeds. Each sprout began as a single seed buried beneath earth and watered with care. Maybe her relationship with Layla could grow the same way, nurtured with small, steady acts of love. That night, Myra sat at the kitchen table with paper and pen. She stared at the blank page, heart pounding. She imagined Layla's smile and wrote, "Dear Layla, each morning I wake, I remember your laughter echoing in these halls. I miss hearing you call my name and seeing you dance in the sunlight that pours through our window. I imagine you walking through new streets, discovering hidden cafes, and I'm so proud of you for chasing your dreams. I want to share my days with you again. I may not be there beside you, but my heart travels with you. I planted new flowers today, bright yellow marigolds that remind me of your sunflower dress. I hope they bring you a bit of home when you see my photos. Would you write back? Tell me about the sky over your city, the songs you hear at night, and the tastes you find in your kitchen. Let's find our way back to each other, one small step at a time. I love you always." Myra, when she finished, tears blurred the words. She folded the letter and sealed it in an envelope, then searched her desk for a photo of them together, arms around each other at a summer fair. She tucked it inside. The next morning, she walked to the postbox under a sky painted with dawn's soft pink light. Her steps felt lighter, her heart humming with hope. She dropped the letter into the slot and listened as it slid into darkness, carried forward by the world beyond. As she walked home, she lifted her face to the sun. In that moment, distance felt less like an ocean and more like a path waiting to be traveled. Each small action, each letter, each shared story could bridge the miles between them. And with hope as her guide, Myra believed their bond would grow stronger, rooted in the love that no distance could ever break. Myra woke before sunrise and hurried to her desk. Her letter to Layla was mailed yesterday, and now she waited for a reply with quiet hope. Each morning she checked the mailbox, her heart pounding when she saw the red flag up and the slot lifted. She imagined words from her sister, painted in ink, crossing oceans and deserts to reach her. Days passed. The mailbox remained empty. Myra's chest felt heavy and hollow. She tried to keep busy. She baked loaves of honey bread, the sweet scent filling her kitchen. She joined a painting class and sketched the golden fields they once dreamed of visiting. Together, she planted more marigolds in her garden, imagining Layla planting them in new pots. Still, hope flickered like a candle in a gentle wind. One evening, Myra walked along the beach where she and Layla spent childhood summers. The waves lapped at her feet, cool and steady as the tide of memories. She picked up a small shell and turned it over in her hand. Its smooth curves reminded her of Layla's soft laugh. A gust of wind scattered sand at her feet. Myra shivered. Not from cold, but from longing. That night she sat by the window and breathed deeply. She took out her phone and stared at Layla's number, saved under a star emoji. Her thumb hovered above the call button. She closed her eyes and imagined hearing her sister's voice. Fear made her hesitate. What if Layla had moved on? What if the letter arrived but got lost under new routines? Would Layla still care to call back? Myra drew in a steady breath. She reminded herself how they faced challenges together. She remembered the time when Layla was afraid of heights and climbed the old oak tree anyway, cheering Myra on. She felt the same courage rising now. She pressed the call button, brought the phone to her ear, and whispered, "Hello." The ringing seemed to stretch forever. Each tone echoed in her chest. Then a voice, soft and warm, answered, "Myra?" Layla sounded tired but happy. Myra's eyes filled with tears. She nodded even though Layla could not see. "Yes, it's me," she said. "I got your letter. I'm so sorry I did not write back sooner." They talked for hours. Layla described her new city, the crowded markets, the bright lights, and the new friends she made. Myra shared stories about her painting class and the garden that was blooming with marigolds. They laughed and cried together. The distance melted, as if it had never existed. After the call, Myra felt light as air. She realized that hope was not a single letter or phone call. It was a choice to reach out again and again, no matter the fear. She knew their bond was stronger than any ocean. The next day, Myra packed a small care package. She included honey, bread baked fresh, a painting of golden fields, and a bag of marigold seeds. She wrote a short note on a slip of paper. "Plant these when you need a bit of home." She sealed it carefully and walked to the post office, feeling the same excitement she felt when she mailed her first letter. As she left the post office, the sky glowed pink and gold. Myra held the care package tight and whispered, "Here we go again." She knew that each step she took, each act of hope, brought her closer to the person she loved. And in that simple truth, she found her strength and her HFY spirit shining bright. In the days that followed, Myra marked her calendar with dates for video chats. On video calls, she saw Layla smile and felt their bond grow. She mailed postcards. On days, tucked with a small drawing, she knew every small act of reaching out was like planting a seed of hope, destined to bloom. And each morning she woke remembering that love could cross any distance. Her hope grew stronger with every gesture. Myra sat at her desk as morning light filtered through the curtains. Yesterday's video chat with Layla had filled her with warmth, but now the screen lay dark and her phone was silent. She pressed her hand to her heart, feeling the ache of distance again. She wanted to keep the connection alive, but she worried that small moments in her daily routine would slip away from Layla's memory. How could she remind her sister that she was still there, cheering her on from across the world? She opened her journal and wrote a list of simple ideas. Send a voice message, mail a small gift, share a photo each day. Despite the sadness in her chest, she felt a spark of determination. She would not let distance win. This was her HFY moment, showing that human kindness and creativity could bridge any gap. She picked up her phone and recorded a short voice memo, birds singing outside. Her window, her own greeting, a quick story about the marigolds in bloom. She sent it with a smiling emoji. Imagining Layla pressing play and hearing home in her voice. Next, Myra gathered small treasures, a pressed daisy from her garden, a bookmark she had painted, and a bag of tea leaves that smelled like cinnamon and honey. She arranged them in a little box and wrote on the lid, "A taste of home." As she sealed the package, she whispered, "May this remind you of our mornings together." Then she walked to the mailbox, feeling the weight of hope in her step. The postman lifted the red flag, and she pictured Layla's surprise when she opened the box. Each small action felt like a thread weaving their lives back together. Back home, Myra sat on the porch swing and waited. She rocked gently, her garden humming with late-afternoon bees. She imagined Layla unwrapping the gift under a foreign sky. She thought of the laughter they would share when Layla sent her a picture of the daisy carefully pressed in a book or the tea steeping in a cup. Even if days passed with no reply, Myra knew these gestures would keep their bond alive. As evening fell, Myra lit a single candle and opened her laptop. She typed a longer email to Layla, sharing her day in detail. The taste of honey bread fresh from the oven, the soft rustle of pages turning in her painting class, the moment she rescued a baby sparrow fallen from its nest. She ended with a question. "What small moment made you smile today?" Then she hit send. Though she could not see her sister's face, she felt a connection woven through words and images flowing across continents. That night, Myra lay in bed and stared at the ceiling. She felt a flicker of sadness, but it was tempered by pride in her efforts. She had reached out with voice, art, and stories. She had shared pieces of her world so that Layla could carry them to her new home. In that moment, she understood that hope was an action, not just a feeling. Each message sent, each gift mailed, was a bridge spanning the miles between them. The next morning, Myra's phone buzzed. A message from Layla, a photo of the daisy pressed between the pages of her new notebook, and a steaming cup of tea with the cinnamon honey leaves swirling in the amber liquid. Under the photo, Layla had written, "Thank you, Myra, I felt home." Today, Myra's eyes filled with tears of joy. She touched the screen, feeling the warmth of her sister's words. The distance still existed, but it felt smaller now. Myra closed her journal, a broad smile lighting her face. She whispered to the empty room, "We are never too far apart." In her heart, she carried the knowledge that kindness, creativity, and simple human gestures could keep love strong. No matter how many miles lay between them, she and Layla would stay connected, one small act of hope at a time. Myra woke with the sun's first rays painting her room in soft gold. Her heart felt tight as she thought of Layla living so far away. She had tried everything she could think of: handwritten letters, surprise phone calls, small gift package, but the miles between them still pressed on her spirit. Each act had given a flicker of hope, yet when the moment passed, the ache returned. Determined to find a new way, she sat at her desk and closed her eyes. In her mind, she saw their childhood home, the porch swing where they whispered secrets, the window where they watched birds together. An idea bloomed. She would make a video that wove their memories with her present. Life a living letter in motion that Layla could watch whenever she missed home. Myra gathered old photographs pinned to the corkboard above her desk. The two of them at summer fairs, muddy from rain but laughing. Their messy kitchen where they baked cookies. The garden where they chased butterflies. She placed her phone on the desk, framed the photos in the background, and pressed record. Then she filmed herself baking honey-sweet bread, kneading the dough until it passed through her fingertips and rose like a soft pillow. She switched to the garden and captured the bright marigolds swaying in the breeze. Next, she recorded the porch swing as it moved gently back and forth in the wind, the sky above a clear blue canvas. Finally, she took a deep breath and spoke directly to the camera. "Hi, Layla, I miss you every day. I wanted to share a piece of home with you." Her voice trembled, but she smiled. And that small courage made her cheeks warm. Editing the clips proved harder than she expected. The video app's menus looked like a maze of tiny icons. She watched tutorials online, pausing and replaying the instructions. She tried dragging clips into place, adjusting lengths so memories flowed smoothly. Sometimes the program froze, and her chest tightened with frustration. She remembered how humans built bridges over rivers and towers that touched the clouds if they could solve huge problems. She could learn this small tool. With patient trial and error, she added titles and soft transitions. She even chose a gentle piano melody under the images. When she finally played the completed video, her eyes filled with tears. It was simple, honest, and full of heart. That afternoon, Myra tapped share and sent the video link to Layla's inbox. As the upload icon spun, she closed her eyes and imagined her sister clicking play in a faraway city apartment. She pictured Layla's smile blooming with each familiar scene. Afterward, Myra placed her phone on the windowsill and sat quietly, listening to birds and breathing in hope. Every small action she took, each frame she arranged, each word she spoke was a step toward reconnecting. She told herself that hope was not just a feeling but a choice to keep reaching out. When evening came, Myra's phone buzzed. Layla's message read, "I watched it 3 times. I laughed and cried. It felt like being home." Myra's cheeks warmed and she pressed the screen to her heart. Then another notification, a short video from Layla. The new city skyline glowed at sunset, tall buildings silhouetted against pink clouds. Layla held up a small clay pot with a marigold sprout growing tall. Her eyes shone as she said, "Thank you for sending this piece of home. It reminds me that love travels any distance." Myra watched Layla's face light up with each word, and her sadness dissolved into joy. They agreed to make a weekly video exchange. Myra would record her garden's growth, the bread she baked, and the moonrise over the rooftop. Layla would show street festivals, her work desk, and the ocean view from her balcony. They even planned to co-write a story, sending paragraphs back and forth. Each new tradition stitched their lives closer together, thread by careful thread. That night, Myra lay in bed and whispered into the darkness, "We are never too far apart." She felt the HFY spirit shining in her actions and hope. Humans had crossed oceans and reached the stars, yet human kindness and creativity could bridge even the widest gaps. Distance was only space, not a barrier to the heart. As sleep claimed her, she dreamed of the next morning's sunrise and the new ways she would find to say, "I love you," across the miles. In her heart, her bond with Layla was stronger than ever, rooted in shared memories and nourished by hope. Myra woke to the sound of rain tapping on her window. The gentle rhythm reminded her of evenings spent with Layla under their old porch, sharing stories by candlelight. Today, Myra felt that familiar ache. The miles between them had grown heavier. In her mind. Still, she refused to let the gray sky dampen her hope. She would find another way to bring sunshine into both their lives. After breakfast, Myra set up her laptop on the kitchen table. On the screen, she opened a simple online whiteboard. Blank canvas of colored squares and sticky notes. She remembered how she and Layla once built pillow fort cities on the living room floor, drawing maps and inventing places to explore. What if they could build a new world together, even from afar? An idea blossomed, a shared digital storybook, where each sister would add a page every week. Myra clicked through templates and found a cheerful layout with fields for pictures and text. She titled their book, The Adventures of the Two Sisters. On the first page, she uploaded a photo of Lila and herself as children, arms wrapped in a silly hug. Underneath, she typed, Page 1, Once upon a time, two curious sisters loved to chase butterflies and dream of far-off lands. She added a bright marigold illustration she'd painted herself. Then she recorded a short audio clip, her voice reading the line with laughter in her tone. When she finished, her heart fluttered with excitement. This wasn't just a project. It was a promise that they would keep dreaming together. Next, Myra tapped share and sent the link to Layla's email with a note. Let's make magic, one page at a time. She pictured Layla's eyes lighting up when she clicked. The thought warmed her even as the rain fell outside. Throughout the day, Myra busied herself with a new routine. She brewed a pot of cinnamon honey tea, poured it into a favorite mug, and sat back at her desk. On the whiteboard, she sketched a forest path leading to a glowing cave. Under the sketch, she wrote, "Page 2 will be my turn. Myra explores the Rainwood Forest, where trees whisper secrets and guiding lights dance on the mist." She pressed record and narrated a short scene, the hush of rain-soaked leaves, the thrill of discovery and the pull of sisterly courage leading her forward. Then she saved her draft and promised herself, tomorrow, Layla's story would light up the next page. That evening, Myra noticed a notification. Layla had already worked on page 2. Her sister had uploaded a watercolor of a crystal cavern and typed, "Page 3, Layla follows the glowing stones to find a hidden river, its waters sing in joyful melody." Myra clicked play on the audio clip. Layla's soft voice described, stepping into the cave's light, feeling wonder bloom in her chest. Myra's eyes filled with tears of joy. Even oceans apart, they were weaving a world together, one that belonged to both of them, with renewed energy. Myra sketched the next outline, two sisters meeting at the heart of the cave. She imagined their reunion across the miles, arms outstretched. In the glow of friendship and love, under her pencil, scenes of laughter and shared discovery came alive. She knew this story would become a treasure they both could hold forever. Over the next days, their digital book grew. Each week, they sent pages back and forth, stories of skyship voyages above rainbow clouds, secret gardens guarded by singing birds, and a final scene of two sisters standing on a starlit bridge, hand in hand. Along the way, Myra felt the ache of distance transform into the pride of creation. She learned new drawing tools, found comfort in Layla's voice messages, and built a habit of hope to reach out, create something meaningful, and share it. One afternoon, Myra sat on her porch under a rainbow that followed a brief storm. She held her phone and watched Layla's new page appear, a sketch of the two of them, holding sparklers under midnight fireworks. Underneath, Layla had typed, "No matter how far our hearts light the sky." Myra smiled through tears. The rain had washed the world clean, leaving behind colors more vivid than before, just like their shared storybook. In that moment, she realized that human spirit, kindness, creativity, and unwavering hope could bridge any distance. Their bond was stronger than miles, stronger than silence, stronger than any storm. Myra closed her umbrella and walked back. Inside, humming a tune she and Layla once sang together, she opened their digital storybook and read each page by candlelight. As the words and images glowed warm on her screen, she whispered, "We are together, always." And in her heart, she knew that every small act, each sketch, each word, each shared memory kept them close, no matter where they lived. Myra woke early to a soft hush in her house. The sky outside was pale blue, and a gentle breeze stirred the curtains. She felt a familiar tug of sadness. Layla's laughter no longer echoed in these rooms. Their digital storybook was growing, but the pages on her desk still felt like they floated in thin air. Myra wanted something more, a way to truly share a moment together. To close the gap between two hearts separated by miles of ocean and sky, she brewed a pot of honey, cinnamon tea, and poured it into two mismatched mugs, one bright yellow, one soft pink. She set one mug on her desk and kept the other for herself. Then she opened her laptop and logged into the video chat app. On the screen, she saw Layla's sleepy smile framed by early morning light in a city half a world away. Myra lifted the pink mug. "Good morning, Layla," she said. "I made tea for both of us." Layla's eyes widened. "You did?" "I have my mug ready too." She held up her own, a deep green cup from a local market. Myra felt warmth rush through her chest. Even through screens, they could share a cup of tea and feel close again. They sipped together in comfortable silence, listening to the hum of their morning routines. Birds sang in Myra's garden. Across the city, Layla heard traffic and distant church bells. Then Leela grinned. "I want to teach you my favorite breakfast dish," she said. "And you teach me yours," Myra laughed. "Deal." She stood and moved her camera to show her kitchen. Layla did the same. Myra held up a bowl of flour and said, "We'll start with pancakes." Layla showed a bowl of rice flour and spices. "I make doses," she explained. For the next hour, they cooked side by side, measuring, stirring, flipping. Myra's pancakes bubbled in the pan. Layla's doses cracked and folded into golden crescents. They shared tips. Myra learned to thin her batter, Layla learned to wait for bubbles before flipping. When the plates were full, they held them up to the camera and cheered. "It tastes like home," Layla said. Taking a bite, Myra closed her eyes and breathed in the sweet warmth of syrup and cinnamon. "And this tastes like our childhood morning." Light. After breakfast, they sat at their desks again. Their mugs were empty, but their hearts felt full. Myra realized that this simple morning ritual, tea and cooking together, built a bridge stronger than words or drawings. It was living in the same moment, even at a distance. Later that day, Myra worked on their digital storybook. She created a new chapter titled The Shared Table and uploaded photos of their cooking adventure, the two mugs side by side, their plates of pancakes and doses, and screenshots of their happy faces. Underneath, she added an audio clip, laughter and chatter echoing across the wired connection. That evening, a message popped up. Layla's page was waiting. She had titled it The Feast of Two Homes. Leela had uploaded a recipe card with both their dishes and a watercolor painting of a long table stretching between two houses. At each end sat a sister, one in yellow, one in green, reaching out to one another. Myra's eyes filled with tears of gratitude. She typed the reply. "This is perfect. We are never too far when we share a meal." Days passed and their new tradition took root. Every Saturday morning, they cooked together on video. Sometimes they invited friends, sharing laughter and recipes across continents. They planned to compile their favorite dishes into a small cookbook, complete with drawings and stories from home. One Saturday, Layla surprised Myra by holding up a tiny wooden box. "I sent this to you," she said. Myra opened the box on camera and gasped. Inside lay two small ceramic spoons, one painted yellow, one painted green. They matched their mugs. On the handles, tiny hearts were carved. "I wanted you to have a piece of our shared kitchen," Layla said. Myra pressed her palm to her cheek. "I love it. Thank you." They both smiled through happy tears. In that moment, the miles vanished. Their bond was not broken by distance, but strengthened by shared moments, by human kindness and creativity. Myra saw that HFY spirit, the human drive to connect, to create joy, and to lift each other's hearts, shining brightly through each gesture. That night, Myra placed the spoons beside her favorite mug and whispered into the empty kitchen, "We are closer than ever." She knew the ache of distance might return sometimes, but now she had hope and clear ways to bridge the gap. With every shared meal, every storybook page, and every simple act of kindness, she and Layla would remain side by side in spirit, no matter where they lived. Myra woke before dawn and dressed quickly. Today was the day she and Layla would meet again. After months of video calls, letters, and shared cooking, they had decided to close the distance in person. Layla was flying home for a visit, and Myra felt a swirl of excitement and nervous hope in her heart. At the airport pickup area, Myra held a small bouquet of bright marigolds, Layla's favorite. The lineup of arriving passengers stretched long and steady, each person moving towards someone. Waiting, Myra's palms felt damp as she scanned faces, hoping to see her sister's smile. She reminded herself of all the small steps they had taken, the letters full of painted marigolds, the voice memos of morning birdsong, the video cooking sessions that filled their kitchens with laughter. Each act had built a bridge across the miles, and now that bridge led here. Then Myra saw her, Layla stepping off the escalator, hair tied back, eyes shining. Myra held up the flowers and called, "Layla!" Her sister paused, then ran forward and threw her arms around Myra. Their laugh echoed in the hall. Myra pressed the marigolds into Layla's hands. "Welcome home," she whispered. They drove back together on winding roads, the cityscape giving way to rolling fields and forest edges. The car windows framed gold sunrise light. They talked. Without pause, Layla described her flight, the clouds below bright as snow. Myra spoke of their garden's new water fountain powered by crystal lanterns, of how their digital storybook had grown to 20 chapters. The miles felt undone with each word. Back at home, their old house seemed both unchanged and new. The porch swing still hung from the rafters, and the windowsill was lined with plants. Myra led Layla inside and showed her a surprise: the small cookbook they had compiled from their Saturday morning recipes. Each page had photos, drawings, and short stories of the meals they had shared on video. "A taste of us," Myra said. Layla hugged the book to her chest. They spent the afternoon baking pancakes and dosis in the kitchen. Myra handed Lila the yellow and green spoons carved with hearts. "These traveled across the ocean," she said. Layla held up the yellow spoon. "Every scoop carries your love," she replied as the pancakes browned and the dosis crisped. They looked out the window at the garden, where marigolds swayed in a gentle breeze. Myra realized how much they both had grown. Layla had learned courage to build a new life abroad, and Myra had learned creativity and persistence to keep their bond strong. Human spirit HFY shone in each of their actions after their meal. They walked through the garden path lined with lanterns. Layla held Myra's hand. "I missed this," she said softly. "I missed us." Myra squeezed her hand. "We never lost each other," she replied. "We just needed new ways to stay close." At twilight, they sat on the porch swing with mugs of cinnamon honey tea. The sky glowed pink and purple. Layla rested her head on Myra's shoulder. They watched fireflies dance among the marigolds. In that quiet moment, distance felt like a story they had overcome. Layla reached into her purse and pulled out her phone. "I have a surprise for you," she said. She showed a photo, a plane ticket in both their names. "I bought us a trip to my city," she explained. "Let's build new memories there." Myra's eyes widened. "Together?" she whispered. Layla nodded. Together, Myra's heart soared. She thought back to the first letter she had mailed and the tiny spark of hope that grew from it. Now that spark had become a blazing flame, their love, their ingenuity, their HFY spirit guiding them. That night, Myra and Layla sat by the fireplace, planning their journey. They marked dates on a calendar, sketched places to visit, and laughed as they imagined exploring new streets hand in hand. The ache of distance was gone, replaced by the bright promise of shared adventure. Before bed, Myra looked at the framed pages of their digital storybook hanging on the wall. Each page was a testament to hope: letters, voice messages, videos, recipes, drawings, and finally this moment of reunion. She turned to Layla and whispered, "We did it." Layla smiled and replied, "We did it together." As they drifted to sleep, the moonlight painted soft patterns on the floor. Myra felt her heart full of pride and love. No matter where they went in the future, she knew their bond would always thrive on human kindness, creativity, and hope. Distance was only a beginning, not an end. And together they could cross any boundary, build any bridge, and write any story.